Elon Musk is now the richest human to ever walk the earth. As of early 2026, his fortune has officially passed $800 billion. But while everyone is watching his rockets and robots, a much bigger question is being asked. What happens to all that money? With at least 14 children and a business empire that reaches from the electric car industry to outer space, Musk has finally shared his plan for his inheritance. And his decision has sent shockwaves through the world of technology. Musk has reportedly confirmed that he is not leaving his life's work to his children. He won't be handing them his companies, and he definitely isn't giving them the keys to his future projects. Instead, he has chosen to give it all away to one specific person. So, who is this chosen successor? And why did Musk pick them over his own family? Let's get into the details. Elon Musk's origin story: bullying, survival, and the making of a tech titan. Elon Musk is probably one of the most talked about men on the planet right now. He runs rockets through SpaceX, builds electric empires with Tesla, and in 2022, he stunned the internet by buying Twitter and renaming it X. From electric cars to outer space, his reach feels endless. But behind all the achievements, all the headlines, and all the money, Elon's story didn't start with privilege or comfort. It started with struggle. And that struggle shaped everything that came after. Elon Reeve Musk was born on June 28, 1971, in Pretoria, South Africa. His mother, May Musk, was a model and dietitian. His father, Errol Musk, was an engineer and businessman. On paper, it looked like a solid, successful household. In reality, it was complicated, tense, and emotionally rough. When his parents divorced, 9-year-old Elon chose to live with his father, drawn by access to books and a computer. It seemed like a smart move at the time. Years later, he would admit it was one of the biggest regrets of his life. Their relationship eventually fractured completely, and school wasn't any kinder. Elon endured brutal bullying, including one incident where he was thrown down concrete steps and beaten so badly he landed in the hospital. Even after that, home offered little comfort. He later described wilderness camps that felt more like survival experiments than schools, places where kids fought over food and cruelty was treated as strength. So Elon escaped into books. He devoured stories like The Lord of the Rings, Isaac Asimov's Foundation series, and The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Those worlds gave him something real life wasn't offering: possibility, purpose, a sense that one person could change everything. By age 10, he taught himself programming. By 12, he had already created and sold a video game called Blastar. While other kids were figuring out playground politics, Elon was writing code and dreaming in systems. He moved through multiple schools before graduating from Pretoria Boys High School. He wasn't a standout student on paper, but his ambition was already louder than his grades. To avoid South Africa's mandatory military service under apartheid, Elon applied for Canadian citizenship through his mother. While waiting, he briefly attended the University of Pretoria. Then, in 1989, he packed up and left for Canada. He arrived with almost nothing. He worked on farms. He worked in lumber mills. He stayed with relatives. Whatever was paid, he did it. Eventually, he enrolled at Queen's University before transferring to the University of Pennsylvania, where he studied physics and economics at the Wharton School. To cover tuition, he threw ticketed house parties. In between classes, he sketched out business ideas, including an early concept that looked eerily similar to what would later become Google Books. By the mid-1990s, Elon was already orbiting Silicon Valley. He interned at startups. He explored energy storage. He dipped into game development. He was accepted into a graduate program at Stanford University, then walked away almost immediately. The internet boom was calling, and Elon wasn't waiting. He tried to get a job at Netscape, but he got no reply. So he did what would become his signature move. He built his own future instead, and that decision kicked off everything. Elon Musk's turning point: how failure built a billion-dollar empire. By the late 1990s, Elon Musk was done waiting for opportunity, so he did what he always does when the world moves too slowly for him. He created his own. In 1999, he co-founded X.com, an online financial platform that moved faster than traditional banks ever could. Within months of creation, more than 200,000 customers signed up. On the outside, it looked like progress, but inside, there were issues piling up. At the time, investors felt Musk was pushing too hard, too fast, and by the end of that same year, they couldn't keep up with him anymore, and so they replaced him. But Elon didn't walk away. Instead, X.com merged with a rival startup whose money transfer service was already gaining traction. That service would become PayPal. Musk fought his way back into the CEO seat, but the company quickly split over leadership and technology decisions. Tensions grew, strategies clashed, and before long the board stepped in again, removing Musk and handing control to Peter Thiel. Under new leadership, the company narrowed its focus, rebranded around PayPal, and in 2002 sold to eBay for $1.5 billion. Musk walked away with roughly $180 million, and that payout became the launchpad for everything that followed. By 2001, he was already talking about growing plants on Mars and trying to figure out how to get payloads off Earth. He flew to Russia, hoping to buy rockets, but when those talks collapsed, he made a decision that sounded reckless at the time. If he couldn't buy rockets, he would build them. So in 2002, he poured $100 million of his own money into founding SpaceX, stepping in as both CEO and chief engineer. The early years were brutal. Rockets failed, cash burned. By 2008, Musk was nearly wiped out, staring down the possibility that one more failed launch would end everything. Then SpaceX finally reached orbit. That single success opened the door to NASA, and suddenly, contracts followed. SpaceX went from surviving to competing, delivering cargo to the International Space Station, then astronauts, then reusable rockets landing upright on ocean platforms. Falcon Heavy lifted off, carrying Musk's own Tesla, drifting through space. Starship began rising as the future of heavy launch. By 2020, SpaceX became the first private company to send humans into orbit, and by 2024, NASA trusted it with planning the eventual retirement of the International Space Station. And while all of this was happening in space, Musk was rebuilding transportation on Earth. Tesla wasn't his original creation, but he stepped in early with capital and control. The company nearly collapsed during the 2008 financial crisis. Internal power struggles forced out the founders, and Musk took over as CEO. Then Tesla survived, first with the Roadster, then the Model S, Model X, Model 3, and Model Y, each launch pushing electric vehicles further into the mainstream. Gigafactories rose across continents, and Tesla became the most valuable car company in the world. By 2021, it crossed $1 trillion valuation. Musk folded solar energy into Tesla's ecosystem, betting on a future where cars, batteries, and power grids lived under one roof, every move feeding into the next. Then came social media. After buying shares, Musk made a full takeover bid for Twitter in 2022, closing the deal at roughly $44 billion. He fired top executives, installed himself as CEO, rolled out paid verification, cut staff, loosened moderation policies, and promised a radical reset. Months later, Twitter became X. He eventually stepped back from daily leadership, shifting into a technical and strategic role, but the platform continued to wrestle with misinformation and controversy, becoming yet another reflection of Musk himself. But for all the success and the inventions, there's a part of Elon's life that still haunts him to this very day, and that is his relationship with his father. The father, Elon Musk, couldn't escape. Elon Musk has never said much about his father, Elon Musk, but when he does, it's never casual. Back in 2018, Elon made international headlines after revealing he had fathered a child with his former stepdaughter, a woman who had been just 4 years old when he married her mother. The story exploded across the media, and whatever fragile distance existed between father and son collapsed even further. In interviews at the time, Errol tried to explain himself. while Elon, on the other hand, stayed mostly silent until he didn't. During a sit-down with Rolling Stone, Elon finally let some of it out. He described his father as a terrible human being, someone who didn't just stumble into chaos, but planned it. According to Elon, the problems began early, right after his parents divorced. At first, all three children initially stayed with their mother, and Elon admitted he felt sorry for his father back then. He remembered Errol as lonely, isolated, and deeply sad. So Elon made a choice that would haunt him. He moved in with him. At first, it felt like the right thing to do. Then reality set in. Elon later admitted that moving in was a mistake almost immediately. He described his father as someone who could turn any good situation into something dark, someone who carried bitterness everywhere he went, someone who seemed to thrive on making life harder for the people around him. He said his father rarely became physically violent, but when he did, it left a mark. Errol later minimized those moments, describing them as minor, but Elon remembered them differently. In Ashley Vance's biography, Elon Musk, Tesla, SpaceX, and the quest for a fantastic future, Elon warned the author not to trust his father too easily. He described his upbringing as miserable, not entirely without good moments, but far from happy. He said his father had a gift for poisoning even peaceful situations, and admitted he couldn't understand how someone becomes like that. At some point during the interview, Elon cried over how bad his relationship with his father was. He described Errol as capable of almost every kind of wrongdoing imaginable, though he avoided specifics. Errol and Elon's relationship only became more tangled when money entered the picture. Years earlier, Errol had given Elon and his brother startup cash to launch their first company. After Elon struck it big and began building his tech empire, he moved his father and family to Malibu, hoping proximity might repair something that had been broken for decades. It didn't. Errol eventually returned to South Africa, and Elon saw this move as abandonment. Errol said he simply refused to live in America. And yet, even with everything that happened, Elon has acknowledged one uncomfortable truth. His father is a brilliant engineer, and those instincts, the technical mind that helped build rockets and electric cars, came from him. Elon Musk's love life, the marriages, the breakups, the secrets, and the women who saw him up close. Elon Musk has had his fair share of high-profile romances over the years. His personal life has unfolded the same way his career has: fast, intense, and rarely in straight lines. He first married Justine Musk in 2000, and that relationship didn't sit on the sidelines while his career took off. It moved right alongside it. 6 children came during that marriage, and as Musk's ambitions grew, so did the distance between them. By 2008, they were divorced. From there, he married English actress Tallulah Riley in 2010, and with them it wasn't one clean chapter. It was a loop. They divorced, remarried, and then divorced again, with the second split finalized in 2016. Over the years, Musk was also linked to Amber Heard and later to singer Grimes. But long before the marriages and tabloid headlines, there was a version of Musk that existed before the world decided he was a myth. Back in the mid-1990s, Elon met Jennifer Gwynn while they were both students at the University of Pennsylvania. Years later, Gwynn told people she had been drawn to his quiet intensity, even though he sometimes showed a surprisingly silly side. They dated for about a year, and it wasn't casual. They introduced each other to their families, and Musk even gave her a gold and emerald necklace for her birthday. But after Gwynn returned from studying abroad, the relationship ended. She later explained that Musk wasn't good at long distance, and that phone calls felt like a waste of time to him. Not long after that chapter closed, Musk met Justine Wilson at Queen's University in Ontario, and their origin story felt oddly cinematic. Justine was a freshman, while Musk was a sophomore. He noticed her across a common room and invited her out for ice cream. After she initially brushed him off with a note on her dorm door, he showed up days later in an overheated student center, standing behind her with 2 melting chocolate chip cones in his hands. In her telling, he wasn't a man who took no easily. Even after Musk transferred schools, he kept pursuing her. Even when they split before Justine moved to Japan to teach English, the story didn't end. A week after she returned to Canada, he called her, and suddenly the thread pulled itself back together. Justine moved to California to be with him. They became engaged, and in 2000, they married. Looking back, she later said the warning signs were there early, including Musk talking about being an alpha. After the wedding, she described a dynamic taking hold where his judgment overruled hers, where he constantly pointed out ways he felt she fell short. She remembered telling him she was his wife, not his employee. He kept replying that if she were his employee, he would fire her. In 2002, they welcomed their first child, Nevada Alexander, who died at 10 weeks old from sudden infant death syndrome. Justine later described how differently they grieved and how they decided to try again almost immediately. Twins Griffin and Vivian arrived in 2004. Triplets Kai, Saxon, and Damien followed in 2006. From the outside, she said it looked like a dream. Extravagant events, multi-million-dollar homes, staff catering to every need. Inside, she described feeling a lack of intimacy and empathy from Musk. After a car accident, she barely recognized herself, feeling like she had turned into a trophy wife. Counseling followed, but she said it lasted only about a month before Musk gave her an ultimatum: live life the way it had been, or get a divorce. According to her, he filed the next day. After the 2008 split, the divorce became complicated, but it ended with shared custody of their 5 surviving children. Justine also received the Los Angeles home along with spousal and child support. Then, shortly after filing for divorce, Musk met Tallulah Riley, and this is where the pace of his romantic life began to mirror the pace of his business life. Fast, decisive, and slightly unreal. They connected at a bar in London. Riley later said she didn't even know who he was at the time. 6 weeks after Musk filed for divorce, he and Riley were engaged. Riley moved to Los Angeles. They married at Dornoch Cathedral in Scotland in 2010. 2 years later, Musk filed for divorce, but their story didn't end there. In 2013, they remarried. In 2014, Musk filed again, withdrew the petition 7 months later, and by March 2016, Riley filed for divorce herself. It was finalized that November. Years later, she admitted it was strange to marry and divorce the same person twice, explaining it felt like a habit, like they were still calling each other husband and wife, and then realizing they technically weren't. Riley later married actor Thomas Brody Sangster in June 2024. While Musk and Riley were separated in 2012, he asked director Robert Rodriguez to arrange a dinner with Amber Heard. The meeting didn't happen, and their eventual connection became wrapped in disputed timelines. During the 2022 defamation trial, Johnny Depp claimed Musk and Heard began dating in 2015, while Heard testified they didn't properly meet until the 2016 Met Gala. In 2017, they went public. By August, they broke up and then reunited. Musk later admitted he had been really in love and that it hurt bad. They ultimately split for good in early 2018, with Heard later describing their bond as rooted in curiosity, conversation, and a shared love of science. That same year, Musk sparked dating rumors with Grimes after a flirty exchange online. Days later, they debuted at the Met Gala. Their relationship quickly became one of the most talked about pairings in tech and music because it didn't follow any familiar celebrity script. In January 2020, Grimes announced she was pregnant. Their son, XAA12, arrived that May. Musk later said Grimes handled most of the early parenting while he focused on work. By 2021, they described themselves as semi-separated, blaming geography and non-stop schedules. Despite that, they welcomed a second child via surrogate in December 2021. Grimes later described their relationship as fluid, best friends living separately but staying closely connected. In 2023, a biography revealed they had secretly welcomed a third child. Meanwhile, in 2022, reports surfaced that Musk had fathered twins with Shivan Zilis in late 2021. He later confirmed a third child with her in 2024. Then, in February 2025, Ashley St. Clair announced she had also welcomed Musk's child, saying she had kept it private for safety reasons. Elon Musk's 14 kids, the family story behind the billionaire headlines. Elon Musk has welcomed 14 children over roughly 2 decades, but the story behind that number isn't neat. It doesn't move in a straight line. It's layered with private grief, public fallout, and moments that keep slipping into the spotlight, whether anyone wants them there or not. It starts with his first wife, Justine Wilson. Their first child, Nevada Alexander, was born in 2002, but she died at just 10 weeks old from SIDS, a loss Justine later described as sudden and shattering, the kind that changes the temperature of a home overnight and leaves you trying to figure out how to breathe normally again when nothing feels normal. Instead of slowing down after that, they pushed forward. Justine later wrote that they threw themselves into building a family again. IVF became part of that journey. Within a few years, they welcomed twins, then triplets. One of those twins would later become the center of a very public break. In April 2022, Xavier Alexander Musk petitioned to legally change his name to Vivian Jenna Wilson and to have his gender recognized as female. In the court filing, he made his position crystal clear. He no longer wanted to be related to Musk in any way, shape, or form. The petition was granted that June. By October 2022, Musk was speaking to the Financial Times, suggesting politics and ideology played a role in the distance, while also claiming he still had good relationships with his other children. That didn't calm anything down. It opened the next wave. In July 2024, Musk said he had been tricked into allowing Vivian to receive gender-affirming care and made a comment that Vivian took as deeply hurtful. Vivian responded publicly, saying he didn't really know her, that he wasn't around much, and that in the limited time he was present, she was harassed for her femininity and queerness. She later explained she spoke out because she wasn't going to let statements about her go unchallenged in front of millions. Around the same time, Grimes posted support for Vivian, saying she loved her and was endlessly proud. Vivian kept speaking up through 2024, calling her father pathetic and a serial cheat. Her twin, Griffin, stayed mostly out of the public eye, only popping up occasionally, including a May 2024 appearance with Musk at an event in Miami that Musk highlighted himself. Then, in March 2025, Vivian added another layer when she told Teen Vogue she didn't even know how many siblings she had if you counted half-siblings. She said she found out about the Shivanzilis twins at the same time the public did. In a separate March 2025 interview with Hassan Piker, she dismissed the idea that her transition explained Musk's politics, insisting he was never what people marketed him as. While all of that played out in public, the rest of the family tree kept growing mostly out of view. Justine gave birth to triplet boys, Kai, Saxon, and Damien, in 2006. Musk and Justine haven't said much about them publicly, but small glimpses have surfaced through biographies. Damien reportedly became a vegetarian young because he wanted to shrink his carbon footprint. He's been described as excelling academically and musically. And there's even a moment where Mae Musk allegedly told Elon she thought Damien might be brighter than him, the kind of line that lands because it's both a compliment and a challenge. Then comes Grimes, and with her, the story shifts into something more futuristic, more public, and sometimes strangely chaotic. Their first child arrived on May 4, 2020, a son named XAA12, later adjusted to XAA12. The name alone made headlines because it sounded like a password and a prophecy at the same time. Grimes explained the pronunciation one way. Musk explained it another way. Both leaned into the idea that it meant something, like it belonged to a world they were building rather than the one everyone else was living in. As X got older, he started showing up beside Musk in moments people weren't expecting. Reports surfaced that he was at Musk's company offices during a tense internal meeting in 2022. In 2023, he appeared with Musk at a conference in Miami, climbing around the stage while the crowd watched what felt like a strange mix of business presentation and family moment happening at the same time. Grimes later said X was obsessed with rockets and knew more about them than she did. She also described how shaken he was after a Starship launch failure, the kind of reaction that makes it clear this wasn't just Dad's job to him, it was the center of his imagination. By February 2025, X was with Musk during a visit to the Oval Office for an executive order signing involving the Department of Government Efficiency. Grimes posted that she hadn't known her son would be there, saying he shouldn't be in public like that. Then in May 2025, after Musk appeared with a bruised eye at another Oval Office moment, he claimed it happened while roughhousing with X after telling him to punch him. Behind that, the Grimes family expanded again through surrogacy and secrecy. In December 2021, Grimes revealed they had welcomed a daughter via surrogate, naming her Exa Darksiderel, later calling her Y and describing the name with cosmic meaning. She posted rare glimpses while insisting on privacy. Later, Walter Isaacson's biography revealed a third child with Grimes, a son named Technomechanicus, also called Tau. Grimes emphasized she wanted to keep him out of public view. At the same time, another branch of Musk's family story was forming with Siobhan Zilis. Insider reported that Musk and Zilis had twins in November 2021, Strider and Azure. Court documents showed they requested name changes so the children would carry Musk's last name with Zilis's included. Zilis has said the twins were conceived through IVF and that she and Musk were never romantically involved. In June 2024, Musk confirmed they had welcomed another child, Arcadia, born February 28, 2024. Then in February 2025, Zilis announced another baby, a son named Selden Lycurgus, describing him as built like a juggernaut with a heart of gold. And then there's Ashley St. Clair. Her announcement brought a whole different kind of tension. In February 2025, she posted that she had welcomed a baby months earlier and that Musk was the father, saying she kept it private for safety and privacy. The situation turned into a public back and forth. Musk posted that he hadn't established paternity but had given her $2.5 million and was sending $500,000 a year. St. Clair responded that he had withdrawn support to maintain control and punish her. By April 2025, the Wall Street Journal reported the child's name was Romulus and referenced a LabCorp result stating a 99.9999% probability of paternity, with a spokesperson confirming the name and result to People. Even that didn't end it cleanly. When Musk and Trump publicly feuded in June 2025, St. Clair joked online that Trump could ask her for breakup advice, turning a personal mess into a punchline the way internet battles always do. Elon Musk is leaving everything to one person, and it's not who you think. Despite being the richest man on Earth, despite building rockets, electric cars, brain tech, and one of the most controversial social platforms in the world, Elon Musk has made something surprisingly clear. His fortune isn't automatically going to his children. When people hear billionaire, they usually assume the same ending. The kids inherit everything. The empire stays in the family. The legacy rolls forward by default. That's how it normally works. But Musk doesn't think that way. He has more than a dozen children spread across different relationships and different stages of his life. And yet he's openly said he doesn't believe in handing companies to family just because they share his last name. If someone doesn't have the interest, the ability, or the drive to run something this complex, he's not giving them control, which means all that money, all that power, and all those businesses might end up somewhere else entirely. And honestly, that fits who Musk has always been. He doesn't see Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, or X as personal heirlooms. He sees them as working systems, things that only survive if the right people are in charge. These companies don't run on sentiment. They run on engineering, pressure, and execution. Mistakes cost billions. Delays change history. This isn't a setup where someone learns on the job. So when Musk talks about succession, he isn't thinking emotionally, he's thinking practically. Some of his children are private, some are distant. One has publicly stepped away from him altogether. There's no visible grooming of an heir. No child was slowly walked into leadership. No obvious successor is being prepared behind closed doors. There's no crown waiting to be handed over. Instead, Musk has made it clear that whoever takes over one day will have to earn it. That's why the next person running his empire might not come from his family at all. It could be someone already inside his company, someone who's lived through Tesla production chaos, someone who's watched SpaceX rockets explode and come back stronger, someone who understands how Musk works, how fast decisions are made, and how unforgiving the environment can be. In other words, a protege, not a relative. And that shifts the whole story, because this stops being about inheritance and starts being about capability. If Musk ever steps away, the future of everything he's built won't be decided at a family gathering. It'll be decided inside factories, control rooms, and executive meetings. The person who understands the mission, the person who can handle the pressure, the person who keeps things moving forward, that's who gets the keys. Not because they're family, because they're ready. And that tells you everything you need to know about how Elon Musk thinks. He isn't building something meant to be passed down. He's building something meant to keep going. And whoever carries it forward will have to prove they belong there. What do you think about Elon's decision? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, click the next video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.